Welcome to our session on personality. I'm Emmalou Penrod, and this is a topic that's really fascinating to me. So we're going to be talking about the 4 basic personality types. Since I think the beginning of time, we have been very interested into why people do what they do, what makes a person behave as they do. It actually was part of Hippocrates came up with the 4 humors or temperaments. Plato discussed at length the 3 parts of the soul and the 4 virtues. So even back in ancient times, we were interested in personality. And all of these various studies came up with 4 basic personality types. Even the elements, earth, water, air, and fire, personality was tied to those. The colors, I think there are several theories on personality describing people. And of course, human personality is very complex. We can't really put it in just 4 categories. As I'm going to be going through for these four personality types, but understand that you will probably relate to all 4 of them. You'll probably find that you have some qualities in each, because we're human beings and we're complex. But there are definite personality qualities that apply to us, and consider it the way we're born. If we try to act like another personality, it doesn't come across as authentic and genuine. The key to success in business, in life, is to identify your own personality and use the strengths. Each personality has its strengths and its weaknesses. So if you understand what your strengths are, use those personality strengths to move you towards your goals, and then understand and accept that there are weaknesses too. Weaknesses that can be overcome or improved. Things about yourself you need to be aware of and be on guard for, so to speak. So in this learning about personality, I started with the history way back with Hippocrates and Plato. And I think every psychologist has also studied personalities. Freud has his ideas. Carl Jung really studied it. Now, he came up with the 4 types: the thinker, the feeler, the sensor, and the intuitor. But he also recognized that we can be introverts or we can be extroverts. The terms introvert and extrovert apply to how you get your energy. Someone who is extroverted in nature is energized by being around people. That just makes them feel great. They would love going to a big, loud party, lots of people. That would just energize them. And a more introverted nature derives their energy by solitude. They need some alone time to energize. They prefer to be more introspective. You can see how he applied that trait. And it's really a scale of introverted to extroverted. And we all fall somewhere along that scale. And whether we are closer to one end or the other gives us that distinction of introvert or extrovert. So, for example, the thinker. The introverted thinker would be more contemplative. They would be looking for self-knowledge, while the extroverted thinker would be more organizing others, implementing, coming up with plans and implementing. They would be including others more. The same with the other four personality types. Now, Carl Jung kept this study of personality and realized that thinking and feeling is a scale again. And sensor and intuitor, again, is a scale. So he ended up coming up with this categorization. Notice at the top, we have extroverts and introverts, and that range. And this data is used for the Myers-Briggs personality test, which I took when I was in college. I'm a ISFJ. But this personality test has over 100, I think well over 100 questions. It's very detailed. And as you answer them, they provide an odd number of questions. So you can't be right in the middle. Even if it's just by 1 point, you fall on one side or the other. And I remember some of my scores were very close. It was just by a few points that I happened to be a sensor rather than an intuitive, or a feeler instead of a thinker. But, personality can be very complex, but for our demonstration here, we just want to know enough to be able to identify what our personality type is, what our strengths are, how we can use our strengths, and what our weaknesses are, so we can work on those and make sure those weaknesses are not keeping us from our goals, not keeping us from that job promotion or getting that next client. So I wanted something simpler, and I found a website. It's called Hire Success, and it's designed to help employers identify which prospects would be the best fit for their company. So they take all of this information, DISC, bank, all of the different personality surveys, and they compiled it into something very simple, easy to understand. It's the Peanuts game. Now, I love this. When I was in high school, we had a drama class that was just 15 students, and we produced a play every month. And one of the plays we produced was You're a Good Man, Charlie Brown. So I love Charles Schultz, Charlie Brown, the Peanuts game. Hopefully we're all familiar with them. But I also learned a valuable thing in this drama class. The teacher made it clear at the very beginning of class that she wanted everyone in the class to have experience playing a lead role, playing a supporting role, and working backstage.
On a scale of 1 to 5, would you give yourself a 5 on achieving what you want in life? If your answer is anything less than a 5, right now, I have something awesome for you. Achieving your goals and living your life at a 5 isn't easy. Most people aren't prepared to focus, stay disciplined, and do the everyday work that is necessary to achieve amazing results. But since you're watching this, then I'm guessing that you're not one of those people. And this is an opportunity that will change your life. Give to Get is a global program that brings together world-class coaching and combines it with empowering masterminds and networking opportunities. We provide 5-star guidance for the price of a cup of coffee a day. To find out more, click on the link in the description of this coaching session.
She wanted us all to get a very well-rounded experience with the whole process of producing a play. And so we did that, and we each took our turn. And as I got older, I really began to appreciate that Some of these personalities might make us better suited to just want to work behind the scenes. Some personalities would contribute to that. I need to be center stage. That's where I want to be. I want to be center stage. But I have found, my experience has been in work and in life, that your chances of success improve greatly when you are prepared to fill in wherever is needed, whatever the situation requires. So that's another goal with going through these 4 personality types. As I go through them and you identify which one is you the most, again, you'll recognize parts of yourself and some of the others too, but predominantly you will find one type that really resonates with you. Most people do. I can't predict exactly how you will respond. Keeping in mind, personality is complex and we always have choice. So in this system that Higher Success did, they just called them personality types A, B, C, and D. But they also, I'll give you the names that other personality assessments have given them. And let's start with Lucy. Lucy is our personality A. And some things about Lucy. Oh, other names for personality A are the director, the guardian, the censor, the adventurer or achiever, the controller, and her element is fire or blueprint. So Lucy likes to take charge. She likes to be the boss. She's very fast-paced, entrepreneurial. Remember, she has her little psychiatric help stand, 5 cents. She has a very direct management style. She's ambitious. She works well independently, passionate, and she demands maximum freedom. The reason she loves to be in charge is she has total liberty to do things the way she wants. She's dominant. She has good administrative skills. She organizes the rest of the gang to put on plays, do projects. She's highly competitive and she's good at multitasking. Now, what motivates Lucy and anyone with this personality type is money. Remember the scene where Charlie Brown puts his nickel in and she's shaking the can? Oh, the delicious sound of money. She loves opportunity, freedom, her independence. She's very, if the risk reward ratio is good, she's willing to take a risk to get that reward. She loves challenge, has a sense of urgency, success, leadership. Those are the things. And again, thinking if this is your personality type, things that resonate with you might be the phrase, let's get it done, fast, results, the bottom line, the newest, the best, the cutting edge, and great return on investment. That might be something. Now, also to help you identify, if you were in a business meeting and the person conducting the meeting said, let's just put the agenda to the side here and go around the circle and everyone just tell us how you're feeling right now. And that probably, if the idea of that just nauseates you, you probably have this personality style. You're a type A personality does not like the touchy-feely, the long explanations or descriptions. You want to get to the point. Just state the facts. They don't like the routine. You want to see some change and variety. Here are the weaknesses you need to be aware of. With personality type A, you can tend to be very impatient and insensitive Be aware of the feelings of others. Maybe take time to listen to them and develop some patience. Be aware that sometimes you may come across as too abrupt and domineering for some people. And maybe you can give them a little more latitude. Maybe give them two choices. Now, wanting to be in charge, they need to be two choices you could live with, either one. And watch your temper. Type A personalities become angry very easily. Notice how quickly Lucy can fly into a rage. You know, her brother Linus asks her, why should I do that? And she does the 5 reasons. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. Be aware that watch your temper. Be aware of other people and how you can help them feel valued. Those are the weaknesses you want to be aware of. A few stories. My oldest son is a type A personality. He finished college in 3 years and he just focused on it. He was taking the maximum course load every semester. He was studying. He would get up early, stay up late. He would work so hard. If he finally sat down, he'd fall asleep. It just drove himself that hard. And my oldest daughter also has this personality. She likes to organize the family get-togethers. When we get together, she wants to plan it. So with personality type A, you have a lot of strengths. You're the leaders, you're the CEOs, the managers. You're the people that make sure things get done. This is wonderful. Use those strengths, but be aware of those weaknesses and how you can temper them to be even more effective as a leader. Personality type B is Snoopy. And if you're Snoopy, you know, remember he is fun. Some other names for personality type A is action, the socializer, the artisan, the intuitor. They're associated with green, the promoter. Their element is air. And they have enthusiasm. They're charismatic. People love them. They're friendly. They're idea people. You can have great ideas. They're motivators, dreamers. They're lighthearted. They're very people-oriented. Even with the introverts, you know, introverts can enjoy being around people. They just need alone time to energize. But they can be very people-oriented. They're self-confident. They like that fast pace. They're looking for the next party. And other ways, you know, if this is your personality style, is you're motivated by public recognition, awards, plaques, certificates. They like having your picture taken with celebrities, succeeding, especially beyond your peers, being the center of attention. This is quite often the entertainers. You want to be right there, center stage. Phrases that resonate with you, or you look great, you're the best at whatever it is you do, people love you, this will be fun. I love the word fun. The things that really, the turnoffs, the dislikes, are public humiliation, being unappreciated. The worst thing you can do to personality type B is to ignore them. That's just horrible. They don't like appearing uninvolved or unattractive or unsuccessful or unacceptable. So now all of these strengths, if you relate to this personality, any qualities of this, use those strengths You're charming. People will follow you. You have the enthusiasm. You can lead the way. But be aware that sometimes your weaknesses, you might be too self-involved. You may try to do too much at once. Your enthusiasm gets you going, you commit to a whole bunch, and then you burn out. And you also have the tendency to be impatient and sometimes unrealistic. And you don't like being alone. So if you struggle with any of these, sometimes you can get too self-indulgent. Again, focus on others, develop some patience, listen to understand how others are feeling, be careful about those commitments. You'll be so enthusiastic. Yes, I can do that. And take some time to make sure that it is a commitment you can follow through with. And again, your strengths will do a lot, will help people accomplish a great deal. Our personality type C is Linus. This Linus is the thinker. Okay, other names for personality type C: the thinker, the scientist, the asserter, the perfectionist, the analyst. Knowledge is when they love knowledge. Their element is earth. They're very down to earth. They like accuracy. They're creative, they're dependable, they're imaginative, they're independent, they're detailed. They like to follow through. They like to play by the rules. They're very organized, intelligent, analytical. They're critical thinkers. They're very thoughtful. My husband is in this personality group, and it's almost amusing to me when we go out to eat. I can glance over the menu, and within 30 seconds, I know what I want. My husband needs at least 5 minutes. He is studying the menu. I am just sure that in his mind, he's calculating how many calories, the nutritive value of each dish. He's going back in his memory banks. Now, have I had this before? And did I have it here? Or was it another restaurant? Did I like that flavor? Do I like those combinations of foods in this entree? He needs time. I've made the mistake when we go into where you order at the counter and the menu is just posted behind the counter and there's no one in line, and I will step up and immediately place my order. And then I turn and look at my husband. He's still standing 10 feet away and he's still thinking. So I've learned not to do that. Another interesting interaction we have is when we prepare to go on a trip. We've decided we're leaving at 10. I'm ready to go. Let's go. He's checking the oil, making sure that the first aid kit is completely stocked. And at first, this was so frustrating to me. And then eventually I learned, we make a good team because I make sure we get going and he makes sure we have everything we need. So there were a lot of good strengths. These are our researchers, are the people that do some deep thinking. And they're the things that appeal to them are perfection. They want to know how it works. One of our sons is also this personality. And when he was a very small boy, anytime my husband was working on the car or I was using the sewing machine or any appliance in the kitchen, he was right there. He wanted to know how it works. What are the different parts? They love quiet and solitude. They want to hear more. They want all those details. The things that turn them off are uncontrolled emotions. They would have a really hard time working with someone who's really emotional. They don't understand irrational acts or indecision. They're not very tolerant of people who are self-centered or indulge in self-aggrandizement. They don't like things to be chaotic or ambiguous. They want to know, what's the schedule? How is this going to work? So if you relate with this personality type, again, remember, you're the details person. You can take care of, manage the most complex projects. But be aware of the fact that sometimes you can appear as unsocial. Sometimes people get the feeling that you're unapproachable, that you're kind of cold and distant, that your behavior, you're detached. So again, take some time to be aware of the people around you. Know that sometimes you may have a rather skeptical view. Be open, be patient, and let people know. Make eye contact, engage with others. You can set the boundaries and let them know, I need to spend this time. I work best when I'm alone. But be aware of how you interact with others and how you can be more effective at that. And our last personality type D is Charlie Brown. Other names for this type personality is the supporter, the philosopher, the feeler, the nurturer. Their element is water. And Charlie Brown is low key. He's caring, he's sincere, he's very compassionate, he's stable. He's calm and imposing, very approachable, dependable, trusting, self-confident, not, stable, emotionally stable, doesn't really have the mood swings, consistent, good at routines or repetitive tasks. And again, you can imagine on any task you have to get done, you would want someone with each of these 4 personalities, that set of strengths, how valuable they are. Now, if you connect with type D personality, one of my daughters this is her personality type. And I remember when she was a teenager, this was back before cell phones. So if anyone wanted to call her, they had to call the home phone. And we soon learned that when the phone rang, it was for our daughter, Lisa, and you could hear her half of the conversation. Her peers loved to call her because she was so sympathetic. She would lend a listening ear. They loved to call and tell her their problems. She was compassionate. She was caring. She was just a sweetheart. And this type personality is motivated by stability, the benefit, security. They're not the great risk takers that, like the type A personality, they like that routine. They like the group activities. They would like let's set the agenda aside and just go around the room and share our feelings. They would relate to that. And things that resonate with them are to help others in need. They like that relaxed atmosphere, logical, rational. They are turned off by pushy people. You remember in any scene you saw Lucy and Charlie Brown, Lucy would be pushing Charlie Brown around. And quite often, this type personality does not enjoy being around people who are like that. They don't like change. They don't like the instability of their disorganization. And they don't respond well to aggressive behavior. They don't like surprises. If this personality type resonates with you, be aware that you may have a tendency to not speak up for yourself, to allow yourself to be used by others because you'd rather just get along than have a confrontation. And this isn't always good, especially in business. This is the personality type that will quite often allow themselves to be taken advantage of. They're not, work on learning to be assertive. Assertive is very different than aggressive. Assertive is just setting healthy boundaries, standing out for what you need, and respecting the other person and allowing them to respect you. But this, and understand too, that sometimes your feelings may be hurt very easily. Maybe learn how to toughen up and not take everything personally. And if you need to, learn to become a little more outgoing, more willing to express your thoughts and ideas and what you need. So, as we went through this, be thinking about which personality type resonated the most with you. And know too, for example, I fit into the type D personality. Like Charlie Brown, I'm a supporter, I'm a nurturer, and I also have some type C qualities. I also like to analyze, to get the details. And so things that I want to work on is to be more outgoing, more assertive. And as you go through, listen to these 4 basic types, identify which one you can relate to the most, and use those strengths. Those strengths will make you a valuable team member. They will move you ever forward towards reaching your goals, working on a team, understanding what your strengths are, and then be prepared to improve. We can't really change our personality. That's the way we are. If we're going to be genuine and authentic, we accept our personality and we live in it. But we can address the weaknesses. We can identify, here are the areas I need to improve. I may need to be more patient, or tone it down a bit, or be more aware and sensitive of others, or speak up and learn to be assertive. So, unless we have any questions, I've covered. What I want to do next time is, now this, we just talked about knowing for yourself, being aware of your personality type and being the best, using the strengths, improving the weaknesses to become a better person. Next week, we're going to talk about how to quickly and easily identify someone else's personality type and how you can more effectively interact with them. And that's why I wanted to choose this simpler personality approach. It makes it easier. You can tell by the way they talk, by some of their actions, some of the phrases they use. It makes it easier to identify. So we'll go into that next week. Did anyone have any questions about just identifying? So Bruce, did you find out which one you are? Or which combination?
I would say I'm probably 2/3 Lucy and 1/3 Linus.
That's good. That's good. You can back up that drive to succeed with some knowledge there.
Yeah. got to pay attention to the weaknesses, though. A lot of them, I'll say, landed on me. I'm not sure how to describe it, Emmalou, because I can get easily, I'll say, overpowering or intimidating, or accused of quote unquote shutting people off or turning people down pretty quickly. Pretty quickly. I'm always, I'll say, I'm always trying to be aware of it. Sometimes I might not do the best job of that, or actually catch myself when I'm going Mach 2 with my hair on fire. It's a little bit of scorched earth, and I have to kind of go back and apologize or ask for forgiveness.
Your element is fire.
Oh, absolutely. And then the Linus was actually quite surprising. I'll say I'm a little bit more of a Linus than what I thought. But yeah, I'll give it kind of 2/3 Lucy, 1/3 Linus.
Uh-huh.
On that. Because it is, I mean, I can go out and do a lot of things to help people, serve people, that kind of thing. But I really recharge having my alone time. I am very comfortable on my own, to the point where it surprises a lot of people just how comfortable I can be on my own.
And I think you really, it's best if you can be alone. I'm concerned about the people that can't stand to be alone, or that, you know, we live in society. So
Yeah.
it's good to be comfortable with yourself and yet able to easily interact with others, that blend. And I love that analogy of being prepared to fit in any role.
Absolutely.
I'm sure you have that experience of, on this team, I need to be more like Linus. On this team, I need to be a Lucy. Sometimes I've needed to be the leader.
Yeah. And you're absolutely correct. And you jump into where you can in-house to support. Funny, the two hardest ones for me are obviously the opposite of what I am, and that's jumping into being a Snoopy or jumping into being a Charlie Brown kind of thing. But to your point, it all starts with self-awareness, because if you're aware of who you are, then you can at least adjust or adapt short term to be that Snoopy or be that Charlie Brown, if you have to, or if you need to, or that's what's best for the team short term. Nobody can, to your point, nobody can do that long term, but everybody can do it for, well, I'll say a short stint.
Yeah. You could step into that for a 2-hour meeting.
Yeah. Yeah.
You know, for just this.
Yeah.
And a lot of times when we meet with prospective clients, we need to alter.
Yep.
But I want to distinguish the difference between you know, staying in our personality, but modifying it, as opposed to trying to be something we're not.
Exactly.
I think we've all encountered the person who is just coming across as fake.
Oh, absolutely.
Yeah. And that does not go over. I don't think that appeals or earns any respect.
Yeah, no. It's funny, early on in my career, when I was, I'll say, a young manager, leader, I struggled with people talking to me, quote unquote, about my weaknesses from that perspective. And so that was very much, I'll say, a learned opportunity for myself, and at times painful to do that learning. But I had to do that learning, and I had to adapt, because ultimately, as a leader, you want to lead the team, and ultimately your success is as good as the team's success. It's not just dependent on the leader's success. And sometimes it was painful for me to learn that, to literally still, to your point, step in my strengths, be aware of my weaknesses, to either soften them and or modify them to the betterment of the team.
Yeah. Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And in my mind, that's what Give to Get is all about, is helping us to become better people, more productive, better in business.
Absolutely. Absolutely. Because when you do become very aware of that and you step into your strengths, support your weaknesses, or get other people to support you in those weaknesses, um, that's exactly when you start to live that limit-free life that we talk about, and have that freedom in your life that we talk about at Give to Get.
Yes. And we're not stuck into that, well, I can't do that, I can only do this. If we are prepared to step into any role, I think I really, now I'm looking back, I really appreciate what my teacher did, because there were some of us, like I would have been fine backstage, but she required me to do
Exactly.
lead role, a supporting role. And she asked it of all, and there were some that would have been happy if they just stayed on center stage.
Yes.
But
Yep.
she wanted us to get that broad experience, and that's really life.
Well, it teaches you how to, I'll say, get along with other people as well too.
Yes.
Yeah. And really how to empathize with other people. Because for you to be, front and center in a lead role, which clearly is not your strength, that's not where you're most comfortable. To do that, you have an appreciation for somebody who can do that and be comfortable with it, but you also have an
Yes.
appreciation for yourself doing it where you're not comfortable with it, but you can still do it.
Yeah. Yeah.
Yeah.
And life
Yeah.
is like that. We may need to be prepared to go way out of our comfort zone. Isn't that?
Absolutely.
There's no growth in the comfort zone, and there's no comfort in the growth zone.
Exactly. Oh, I like the way, I haven't heard it said that one, but yes, I do like that one. Yep. Again, a phenomenal presentation, Emmalou. Thank you absolutely for giving to all the members of Give to Get. I can't wait to get this one loaded and up onto the dashboard that people can watch it again and again. And then looking forward to, I'll say, the next one next week to see where we go from there.
Thank you.
Okay, perfect.